Hello, welcome to the sideboard here at Grand Prix Miami. I'm Nick Miller alongside Craig Wescoe. How are you doing today?
Good.
Now, you're a man who likes to beat down, mostly with white creatures though, but you're playing Abzan today, and not just any Abzan, a very unique brew on it.
Yeah, I've been known to attack with some green creatures too, so.
Got quite the history of beating down with green-white creatures, and this deck does exactly that. You've got the Abzan base, but you've also got the talk of the tournament, Mastery of the Unseen in your deck, along with Hooded Hydra.
That one's probably not the talk of the tournament, at least not yet.
Well, we're going to try to make it that way. Yeah. Talk about how you came to this deck and just all the sweet little interactions that this deck has that a lot of the other Abzan decks doesn't.
Well, I've been playing Naya tokens for a while and have been having reasonable success, but I like black right now better than red because there's a lot of control decks, there's a lot of Abzan control kind of took over, there's Sultai control is a big thing, and so Lightning Strike isn't really that good of a card right now. It's kind of only good against Abzan aggro and red-white, whereas Thoughtseize is so good against all these slower decks. It's even good against red-white. So I decided to go with black, and it also allows me to upgrade from Xenagos to Siege Rhino, which is just like
no argument there.
Card, yeah.
So you had this as a Naya shell with red originally and swapped out black, but with black, you don't have any main deck removal either. So what the game plan here is just to vomit all your cards onto the table?
Yeah, so I can gain a whole bunch of life. I have 16 cards in my deck that gain life. And so Thoughtseize, the 2 damage, is still okay against an aggro deck, like against red-white. And so the creatures that I need to kill are usually a Rabblemaster or maybe a Stormbreath Dragon. But I've noticed from Mastery of the Unseen in particular, once I get that going, my opponent had 3 Stormbreath Dragons out. Actually, this is BBD's match, he was showing it to me. His opponent had 3 Stormbreath Dragons out, and they just couldn't attack, and they were just sitting there on D, and he was just dying to a Master of the Unseen. So I was like, okay, I don't need removal spells anymore. I'll put those on the sideboard. We'll just go with the main deck Thoughtseize and a bunch of creatures.
Who needs removal when you're just churning out the best creatures you can? You've got Whisperwood Elemental, Siege Rhino, Wingmate Rock, and Hooded Hydra along with your just green base.
All the best creatures in the Wait, Hooded Hydra? What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason Hooded Hydra is in the deck, I guess you'll have the graphic, is
you've been here before.
You play Mastery of the Unseen, and then you just start manifesting creatures every turn. And so then once you hit a Hooded Hydra, instead of paying 5 to flip it, you can just pay 2 to flip it, and he's a 5/5. That when he dies, you get 5 snakes. So that guy's really good with Master of the Unseen. He's also really good with Whisperwood Elemental. So you flip him with either one, and it's just like this insane 5/5 with a really good ability for 2. And so you want a high number of creatures in the deck, and he's also just like another big threat against blue-black control. So I cut Fleecebane Lion for him as another like 2-mana creature that you could flip over, because against a control deck, you just like tap out, and it's just like, all right, I got the 7/7, and if you Hero's Downfall it, I get 7 1/1s. And so it's just another really difficult threat for them to deal with. And then of course, once you get the tokens, Master of the Unseen, you gain like 26 life a turn.
Right. I saw a game in the feature match area where you had like 3 Master of the Unseens going on. You're just flipping creatures, gaining so much life.
Yeah. And my opponent was attacking me for 72 points a turn, and I was gaining that much life to like stay at like 8 life or something, and then attack him for 6 in the air with Wingmate Rock and do it all again the next turn.
Yeah. Who are they trying to kid? Attacking for 7? Not enough.
Yeah, he had double Dictatophilia out. All his creatures were 5/5s or bigger, and he still couldn't fight through Master of the Unseen.
All right, yeah, that card is definitely taken over. But hopefully, some people saw the Hooded Hydra and were like, oh, well, if you manifest this guy, he's sweet, but you have to jump through the hoops to do it. Well, you don't have many hoops to jump through when you've got Whisperwood Elemental, which is proven to be one of the best creatures in the format, and Mastery Unseen, which is just popping up everywhere. Getting to flip over Wingmate Rock when people don't know you have that, all very good interactions. Sideboard, as you said, no removal in the main deck, all the removal in the sideboard. Any rhyme or reason to it? You just got last breath, so utter end.
There's no removal spell right now in Abzan that's just good against all the threats that you want. Like it's either bad against Stormbreath, or it's bad against Rabblemaster, it's bad against Rhino. Like it's gonna be bad against something.
Right.
So I play Utter End, Murderous Cut, Last Breath, and Valorous Stance as my removal spells. And depending on what I'm playing against, I bring in the ones that are good against that matchup. And so post-board, I have kind of a deck that's configured of creatures and the right removal spells for the matchup. And game one, instead of just like playing Last Breath or something and then just having it not do anything, or Murderous Cut or whatever, just Thoughtseize is the most versatile game one card, and I just try to overpower him game one, then just board in removal game two. And like between Master of the Unseen and Core Serve Crucifix, I can kind of set what I want to draw. So let's say the other end that I really need to draw is on top of my deck from Courser, then I just don't manifest with Mastery that turn, and instead I just flip up a creature that was in play. You know, so it's like, oh, I flip up a creature and I gain 7 life, and now next turn I draw the other end to kill whatever I need to kill. And so like I use all my mana every turn with the deck to do something.
Yeah, the deck looks very, as you said, it's very mana efficient. You always have something you sink your mana into, and you have decisions you can make based on the board state you're in.
Yep.
And you've got your Fleecemay Lions, which you mentioned before, in your sideboard.
Yeah, so like they're really good against control decks, and some matchups I just don't want the Thoughtseize. So against like mono red aggro, I just want to take the Thoughtseizes out. Well, what do I bring in? I'll just bring in Fleecemay Lion. And maybe I don't want 400 Hydra, 4 Wingmate Rock, and like 4 Whisperwood Elemental against a really fast mono red deck. Right. So I bring in the Last Breaths, which are really good against them, but then Fleecemane just allows me to still have, you know, threats. So it's just kind of like an all-purpose creature that's kind of really good against control and serviceable against the aggro decks too.
Another thing I really like about your deck, all 4 ofs.
Main deck, yeah.
Yeah, just 4 of everything, 24 lands, here it is, beat it.
Yeah, I mean, I figure out what the best cards are, and I play those and Hooded Hydra. I mean, I gotta have something cute in my deck. I can't just play, you know, all real cards.
Well, there's no better way to end that than mentioning Hooded Hydra in that fashion. So
yep, straight Craig, hood.
Yeah, you know, little gangster over here. 6-1 so far through 7 rounds. Abzan Mastery, Craig Wescoe. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Miami.